Now this bottom of the press hold, so this floaty part here where my toes have come off the floor, is really hard to understand. It looks easy when you see someone else to do it, but to describe the muscles I'm using, the technique, the skill, or just describing the feeling to someone else is near on impossible. It's one of those things that you won't understand until you can actually do the thing yourself, and then when you can do the thing yourself, you're not going to be able to describe or explain it to anybody else. So it's actually really, really hard to teach. Now I've got longer tutorials on actually training the position, so getting the flexibility correct, how to strengthen and condition that upper back and shoulders, and I'll link those videos at the end. But in today's video I want to focus on a couple of exercises that anyone can do to get themselves used to the position, taking the weight up and forwards into the shoulders and the upper back, and get a feeling for what it's like to lift the feet up and float for a few seconds. So to get started, we just need to open and close the hip a few times. So this is open, this is closed. We can play with different distances with our feet. We could do some Cossack squats, hamstrings, pigeon stretches, things like that to make this nice and comfortable. And then I'm just going to play with transferring weight from the feet to the hands and back again. Now it doesn't matter what flexibility or what level we're at here, it just is going to change the position slightly. So if I've got more flexibility, I'm going to bring everything a little bit closer together. I'm going to climb more onto my tiptoes. If I'm not so flexible, I'm just going to transfer weight more sideways, forwards and backwards. But I want to be pushing up and forwards through that protracted position, more rounded upper back. And then if I feel comfortable with that, I'm just going to transfer a little bit of weight like a jump and come back again. So when I jump, I'm pushing up and forwards with the upper back. I'm not jumping forwards towards my face. Next, I'm going to find my peak position. So I'm going to try and find the point or the setup when the hip crease is as close to the hands as it can be. So if I'm here, there's no float, but if I can get the hip crease on top of the hands, the toes are going to start to be very light. Now that's going to be very slightly different for everyone. Some people are going to be more comfortable in a wider position with their feet. Some people are going to be more comfortable with their hands further away from their feet and going to go more planchy, but we're going to get to a point where the toes feel light for us. Now obviously it's going to depend on your level in terms of how light they are, but we want to try and find that peak point. So for me, it's around there. Once I've worked out that setup for me, I'm going to get back into that position again. I'm going to come back into the feet, go up onto tiptoes and then hop the feet forwards. Same thing. So with a little bit of playing around, most of you should be able to get some sort of jump happening there where you're transferring weight to the hands, hips are coming up, and then your feet are jumping off the floor, and you can do that forwards and you can do it backwards. Now we're just going to turn down the dial. So the dial in terms of how much jump we're using, how much momentum. So I'm just going to turn it down a little bit. I'm going to move slower, see if I can still get a little bit more of a float now instead of a jump. Now again, that's going to be very different person to person, but you should be able to have a range for you. Using momentum, not using momentum. And then we can just keep slowing that down to the point where we're starting to only float if you have it. Now if you're struggling to get lift off there, one way to do it is to start down in more of a tuck position and explode or go up like a spring would. So I'm in that position, I'm closed here into a deep tuck position, and then I'm going to open the legs up, which is pushing me up and forwards, and my feet can come off. So I'm using a little bit of a jump, and then I can just start to minimize the jump. But the idea is that it's sending you up and slightly forwards. Now in terms of practice, I'd really focus on the forwards movement. You can go backwards. You can also go sideways as well, but I'm not a big fan of sideways from a press point of view. It's good fun to play with it. And you'll see people using that for locomotion type movements. Now you can also slow it down and spend more time in each position. So I could just hold here for time. If you had more float, you could lift the feet. You could clap the feet and come forwards again. If you are super flexible, just watch that you don't do this and snap together into a forward fold too quickly. We want to try and hold backwards with the toes. And it'll actually feel like they're going in that direction or that direction more than that direction. You'll find press programs in my app, link is down in the description. Check out these videos if you want more help with the float for the press handstand, and I'll speak to you in the next one. Thanks guys.